Hi, it's Liz. Um, I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep doing this, and I want to talk about why. Um, so I neglected to mention this last week, mostly out of embarrassment, but I did have a pretty serious meltdown last week. Um, and I proceeded to make a bunch of videos anyway. I kind of figured, these are things that I have already thought about. All I have to do is kind of talk for however long, and I'm not even going to bother to edit it. But I've been realizing, like, definitely, watching the analytics and everything, and just rewatching the videos, like, they're just they really need to be edited and structured. Especially if I'm going to be talking about a topic that's so kind of long form and like complex and deep and personal and everything. Like, I really need to take the time to present it well, or it's not going to be received well, or just really received much at all. Because, understandably, a lot of people don't want to watch 45 minutes of somebody just like talking into a camera. So the problem is that I've still been recovering from this meltdown. I'll put a little link about like some explanation of autistic meltdowns and what they're like. Um, but I'm still recovering, and I've had to prioritize other things, and prioritize my own self care and my own rest, or trying to. Um, and I've just been realizing that I just don't know how realistic it is for me to make decent videos, especially if I'm not making money doing it. Because if I'm making money doing it, then I can afford more childcare. I can afford um, to order out once in a while. I can afford to do things that lower my workload in the rest of my life, so I could devote more energy to doing this. But without that money, I just don't know if it's I just don't know if it's realistic. Um, at least for me to make decent videos. So I'm a little torn because I have definitely gotten some good feedback, and I've gotten to know some other people in the autism and bipolar and um, related communities, and that's super valuable to me. Those are connections I really want to make more of. Um, but I yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to quantify the trade-off. Um, so I'd be really curious if any of my viewers have any feedback, and it doesn't have to just be like super nice, as long as it's honest and constructive. So that's part of it, and part of it is that as I mentioned before, and as I'm sure a lot of it's Lent right now, and part of my Lenten fast this year has been going off of Facebook, which has been a really good thing. Not the first time, but it's longest I think I've ever been off of Facebook, and I really enjoy it. Or longest since I recently got a new account a few years ago. But anyway, I mean, it's just there's a lot that's unhealthy about social media, and what I'm realizing is that YouTube is a lot more like Facebook than I had wanted to believe. I mean, and that's not 100% bad, because one of the few good things, or one of the, I don't know, I guess I don't know if it's a good thing. One of the things that I always really enjoyed about Facebook is that it gave me the opportunity to flex my rhetorical muscles, because that's something I just I really enjoy. I think it's really interesting to apply logic to rhetoric and to think about philosophy, because it always comes down to, you know, I don't want to say always. The questions I'm interested in, the debates I'm interested in, tend to come down to philosophy, and so that's interesting to me, and just something my mind wants to do, and I feel like my mind should have an opportunity to do that. But I guess the dark side of that is that I just don't know if it's the best actual way to do that, you know, via computers. I mean, it's very easy to get in touch with groups of people that it might be very fun to argue with, easier than in person. But for me, and I think for obvious, I think it's pretty obvious that this is true for most people. Um, it's very easy to get into being like snarky and dismissive and rude and flippant. And I don't know, to a certain extent, I kind of like, to me, I feel like I'm being playful, but then sometimes it can become to where it's maybe not playful, or at least it's not being received that way. And so I shouldn't, so I have to rethink how I'm, it's also just a lot harder to have empathy for people when you can't see them and hear them. And of course, in videos, and when you're making a video or watching a video of somebody's face and they're, you know, being candid and vulnerable, like that's great. That's way better than you're ever going to get on Facebook. But then there's the comments sections, which are fun. I love working with, you know, words, but there's limitations. And it's also, and then on top of that, it's just, it gets overwhelming or exhausting, or sort of stressful, especially because like in online conversations, you never know when the other person is going to reply. So I feel like there's kind of this tension that can be there. Um, so yeah, I just don't know if it's healthy. I just don't know if it's the best thing, but it often, you know, these days it winds up feeling more and more like your options are um, kind of quote unquote like toxic social media or relative social isolation. And then neither of those are good options. I really need to be intellectually stimulated, and I really need to have contact with people. And it's just so hard, even though I know so many people who live in this town. I mean, if you're not on Facebook, it's like you don't exist. So it's kind of, I mean, even, you know, you can call and text people, but that's not really how, it's just hard to be on people's radar. And and people don't follow through with that kind of thing anymore, because we've all just become used to social media doing the work for us, kind of. Um, so yeah, somehow it's even harder to see people in person without Facebook. And, you know, I don't, now I'm just rambling, but I guess I'm just trying to figure out what is the lesser evil, what I should be spending my time doing, you know, and if it's worth it for me to spend time making and editing these videos, which I think if you're not doing it, you don't realize how time consuming it is. But it is. So, and I'm not good at it, is the other thing. I'm not good at any of this. I'm not good at personal branding. I'm not good at, like, I feel like if I was really going to launch my channel into something that people were really popularly into, I would need to hire people to like do channel art for me and do all this stuff, because that's just not going to be me. That's just not the thing I'm ever going to do well at. So I know myself too well to think I can just do all that myself. I'm just going to spend a lot of time doing it, be frustrated, and then it's not going to do well. So yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Because I was gonna like do some whole involved video today, and I just truly don't have time. Like, it's my day off for like Lydia's at daycare, but I have so many other things that I that are more important than this that I need to do, that are like of practical importance. So yeah, this is about as much time as I can devote to this today. So let me know if you think this is still worth me doing, maybe on a slower schedule, maybe something. Feel free to contribute to my Patreon if you want to bribe me into staying. I'll put the link in the description. That's all I got. I'll see you guys later. Or not.